Welcome back to the Study Prep Guys channel, everyone. Today we'll be looking at the complete course of economics for CSEC for 2025, May, June. The sitting exams next week. So it's nice to be back with you guys. This will be a full course. We'll be working past papers. Will not be working a lot because I want to make this video short. I will make a compilation video of every year from since 2020 to 2025. But for now, we're just looking at some basic questions or some repeated questions that usually come for economics almost every single year. This is under section one. We'll be looking mainly at the year 20. Let me just show you guys. We're looking at May, June 2022. We're looking at two questions. 2020, we're looking at five questions. 2021, May, June. We're looking at four questions. And for 2023, May, June, we're looking at seven questions. So this is the yearly questions that we will be looking at. We'll be looking at the most repeated questions for each of these years and how do they correlate with each other. So first of all, let's look at the first year off the bat. So this is the agenda where we'll be answering questions under each of these years. So first of all, we're looking at year 2022 May June economics, principle of economics, which really deals with the first unit of the of economics, which is very important to note. I did do a live stream with this, guys. I will post a card on top there. So if you guys haven't seen that video, you could look into it after you have finished watching this one. So let's look. So the first question is list the three agents of an economy. There are mainly three agents of the economy, including of household firms and the government. Economy agents are individuals or entities that participate in economic activities by making decisions about the allocation of resources. So households, which is the consumers, take goods for personal day-to-day use. Firms create goods and governments dispatch goods across the country. So the second question right off the bat is the state the role of each of the agents listed in AI, which is basically trying to say state the function of each of the agent listed, which is household, government, and firms. So first of all, let's look at the role of each agent. So first of all, suppliers. They make and create the goods and services, and another term for firms are suppliers because they supply goods and services for the overall economy with the hopes of making a profit. So suppliers they make and create goods and services that we use in everyday life. Government they are responsible for the dissemination or dissemination, which is the allocation of goods and services. They allow for the production process to take place. Without governments, the production process would be much harder. And then finally, we have consumers or household individuals or consumers for short. They utilize the goods and services for personal amusement, for day to day activities, and for day to day life. And if you are watching me right out there, right now, you, my fellow viewer, you are a consumer. You're consuming my service. So you are part of the overall agents of an economy. So let's move on to May 2020 paper 2 economics, which is the first question right out of the bat for this paper on section I or section A, which is it says define each of the following terms, which is the law of demand and the law of supply. Now let's answer the law of demand versus the law of supply. And while the law of demand and the law of supply are distinct, they're totally distinct things, and I will explain that now. So the law of demand states as the price of a good or service goes up, the demand decreases. So the higher the price, the less people will want to buy it. And the lower the price, the more people will want to buy it. Right? So that's basically the law of demand. I can't really put it more simpler than that. And then we have the law of supply. The law of supply states as the price of a good or service goes up, the supply increases, and as the price decreases, the supply will also recuse, I like to call it recuse, meaning that as the price of a good or service goes up, the supply will increase, meaning the higher the price, the more supply. The lower the price, the less supply. That's it in a nutshell. So it states here, what are the determinants of supply? The determinants of supply are mainly government policies. Government policies could either cause something called an extension or it could cause a reduction of the supply. So, for example, if there are certain government policies that are bad for the supply chain operations, that will be negative that will negatively affect the supply chain. Technology could increase the supply chain, right? So market share increase, I would like to call it. So depending on the if the technology is up to date, if we have advanced technology, we have machinery or capital that will increase the production process by tenfold, that will drastically increase the production process overall. We have population. Depending on the size of the population, the demand will be higher. If you have a low population, you will have less people to buy your products, and as a result, supply will be low. And we have fashion and taste. Depending on the generational ethical problems and how they live their lives, and what is more up to date in society, such as fashion and taste, or personal taste could be a reason or determinant supply also. So fashion and taste really does affect the supply chain because depending on what people want, they will buy. For example, clothing. Clothing might be more wanted than machinery in most cases. So a big question is what are the determinants of supply now? Or the determinants of demand, sorry for that, the determinants of demand. So let's look into that. So determinants of demand really includes a lot of factors, but I only listed four here. The question only asks for two in the original 2020 paper two question for May June. But some of the determinants of demand includes population, fashion and taste, government legislation, and technology are some of the major contributors to the demand. And price is also a very important part to play in the determinants of demand. So I believe that from reading these points that you could actually have a basic understanding of what are the determinants of demand. I don't believe I need to explain a lot on this. But in case of anything, let me explain anyways. So population, depending on the population or depending on the population density, it will have a drastic amount of demand in certain goods. For example, if you have a low population density, the demand for bread will be relatively low because a lot of people can't buy bread. If there is a general big population to say, there will be an increase in demand of bread because the population could actually purchase it and there's much more people to actually push the supply chain operations. Fashion and taste, that's very self-explanatory. Personal taste, some the population might like a certain good comparable to something else. For example, the latest iPhone might be an inclusion of fashion, and most people would want to buy it because of the updated taste and fashion in society. And government legislation, for example, demerit goods. Demerit goods are goods like drugs, tobacco, and harmful substances that usually harm the body. So, depending on that, the government will impose certain judicial legislation that will prevent or make the cost of purchasing these demerit goods extremely difficult. Technology also plays a very vital role because if technology production really deduces the cost of certain goods and services, which will thus increase the demand. And if the opposite is the same, if there is a case wherein there is little improvement in technology, the production process will be harder and that will increase the price of certain goods and services. So that's everything for this video, guys. You could contact me. My personal number is right there. Facebook. You could join the Facebook group. Patreon. We have Patreon at the Study Prep Guy. Facebook group chat. And then we have personal email, josephjones349@gmail.com. You could personally email me about any question that relates to CSEC. Discord. You have my Discord link right there. And before you go, I have a quick note. This is very sad. Only 9.5% of my total geographic is actually subscribed. So if you guys haven't subscribed yet, subscribe now. It's very easy. You just have to click a button, and will have been subscribed to the Study Prep Guys Army or the Study Prep Guys CSEC. So anyways, guys, be prepared. Be alert. Econ pass paper for this year is right around.
Watch my nine millimeter go bang. Wah-da-da-dang, wah-da-da-da-dang. Watch my 9mm go bang. Wah-da-da-dang, wah-da-da-da-dang. Player haters, masturbators, bitches all up in my shit. Living scared, you know you did. Walking around with a crib full of niggas, bitch boy tried to take my shit.